All right, y'all. You're live with Lonzo, the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce and the editor of the Hub City Legend newspaper in the city of Compton and surrounding areas. And today I have a gentleman on the line with me today. He's from one of those surrounding areas. This brother's been very active in the community. He is a motivator. He is an organizer. He's a community organizer. He gets a lot of things done. My guest today is John Davis of the Avalon Gardens Community Center, right?
Association.
I knew I was close. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to come on. Before we get started, I definitely had to give a thanks to the Thrash Daycare Center. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now. So she allowed me to use part of her center to do this interview. So I want to thank the Thrash Daycare Center here right in the community that sit up here and service these kids and help these parents that have to work and that need daycare for their kids. So I thank the Thrash Daycare Center for allowing me to sit here with them, and it's the owner, Paris Thrash. So I thank her very much for that.
Always help those who help you. That's a good policy, Doc.
Yes.
Now, you and I have attended. Let me back up. I've attended several of your meetings that you coordinated throughout the city. One you did at Martin Luther King Hospital for the parking situation for all areas, not just Avalon Gardens.
Right.
And recently we sat down at a event for the. I'm gonna give it to her. The next assembly person, Ayanna Davis, and I hadn't seen you in a while. And sometimes out of sight, out of mind. Okay. But I saw you. I'm like, damn, this brother needs some light shined on what he does. That's why we're here today, man. Tell folks what you do with the Avalon Gardens Association.
Well, what I do is I enlighten the community, the residents, on everything that needs to go on in the community. You know, folks, they work, they come home. They don't have time to really pay attention to all the things that surround them. And then when things that actually happens, sometimes it's too late. It's too late to act. It's too late to really do something about it. So, our community meeting, we do our community meetings once a month. We have it at Avalon Gardens Elementary School. And then when we have to bring out folks that never been in the community, I normally try to do it at Magic Johnson Park. So again, that brings everybody out, all the community leaders in their communities out to one spot. It's not just Avalon Gardens, everybody.
Okay.
And so we want to make sure that the folks that live in these communities, Compton, unincorporated county of LA, the things that happen, the policies and everything that goes on, you need to be aware of that. And I try to bring that to light in our communities.
It wasn't until I became active in the Chamber of Commerce in Compton that I realized so many things go on that we have no idea. Okay.
Yes.
And people who make it happen, in most cases, are very accessible, but we just don't know that. And for the most part, it's their job and their responsibility to come to the community and communicate with us, let us know what's happening. But because a lot of folks get so busy lifing, they don't really get into it until they look up one day and something has changed. Like, what the hell is going on? And by then, like you say, it's too late. It's already hardened concrete, and nobody can undo it because you had a chance to do it and you didn't. And I'm glad that people like you do what you do to keep us informed, man. How long you been doing the Avalon Community Association?
Right now, we're going on year 6.
Okay. Now, what's the territory for your organization? There a territory you guys have assigned to you?
I cover from Rosecrans to 135th, Avalon to Main, basically to Broadway. I cover pretty much a chunk of that area, and then don't forget, we got Anthony's Park and Anthony's Way. That's another group. Friends and family that sits on the other side of El Segundo. So we get a chunk of the middle of these areas. But one good thing I can say that we work with all the community leaders. Once a month, we have a sit down. I think you was not able to make it, but we have a thing called Willowbrook United. So we get all the leaders together in one room and we just sit down and we discuss all the issues that happens in our community, making sure that those things get resolved, that we are networking, and that we get to know each other. And that's one key piece of thing that we wanted to do, because what we have realized is that sometimes decisions get made in our community, we're not even aware of it. And these
Right.
decisions sometimes get made with folks who don't even live in our community. They're
Right.
trying to do what's for your community, but they don't even live here. So we wanted to make sure that we get together, that the leaders get together, because sometimes leaders need help on the other side of town. If I can say this, East Gardena, East Rancho, at one point, we was at their meeting, and their sign, their concrete sign was broken. Someone hit it, and they wanted to be replaced. But the county wanted to replace it with an aluminum foil sign. And it's like, no, we want the sign that we had before replaced.
Okay.
It was just us coming to that meeting, making sure that they get what they wanted. They actually got what they wanted. Because at the time, they wanted to push them to vote on it. And we told them, do not vote on something that you don't want. You vote on what you want.
Right.
And, when they saw us, because you was just at one of our leaders meeting a week ago talking about the things you can do for them.
Right.
But if you're going to represent all of us, then it should be fair across the board. If you can do for one group, you should be able to do, if you can do for one community, you should do for all communities. And that's why we come together, to make sure that it's fair across the board, that none of these community leaders get overlooked when they need things done in their community.
Now, I just thought about something. You say your territory is from Rosecrans to 135th. Who handles 135th going north towards El Segundo?
We're working on them. We're working on that one as well. We're trying to I'm trying to get my voice over there as well to help them, because a lot of times they come to my community meeting, and I had a couple of issues over there that I had to address with some of the residents over there to help them out. I know they're dealing with a lot of traffic.
Right.
So we've been over there a lot, working with them, making sure we can do our best to assist them on the things they need. Lonzo, a lot of communities are voiceless, and they don't have the voice like we have. And we try to do our best. And I always get other leaders to not just concentrating just on your spot, but those voices that that needs help. Let's make sure we give them a lift, and make sure that we got their backs as well.
John, I think it's amazing, man. I was just thinking about this right as we're talking. I grew up on the other side of Vanguard on 132nd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My dad had a lawn cutting service. We cut lawns all over in Avalon Gardens. Everybody from 135th all the way to Rosecrans and all the way across. But those neighborhoods are divided like nobody's business. The people on my side didn't like the people on that side, and the only thing separated us was Vanguard Junior High School. And those kids went to Gardena High School and went to Prairie. They went to Gardena, but they're in the LA County as well, right? You're in LA County, right?
I'm in LA County, so it's divided because of how they be district. So Vanguard falls under Compton School District.
Right.
So those kids that went to Vanguard went to Centennial,
right,
stuff like that. So it hurt, And then to your point, you have communities and people that lives in the area won't even deal with each other, because hey, I live over here, you live over there, and what stays over there stays over there. So we have, for many years, we actually broken that and got folks involved. Because when they come to Avalon Gardens community meetings, a lot of residents says, well, you know what? We don't have this over here. We need this over here. And we want to, and that's why we made sure we go into these areas to give them the same support, just as well we do in our own communities.
Now, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, from 135th to Avalon is like the last neighborhood until you get pretty much past to Redondo Beach. Well, the Compton Boulevard. Okay. that you would think that Rosecrans would have been a more effective borderline because, like I said, once you cross Rosecrans, you don't get any residential until you get to Compton Boulevard, which is about another mile away.
Right, and so with those, what you're saying, and it's true because see, that's one of the fights that we want to make sure is that because you don't have homes over there, you have more of the industrial,
Industrial, right?
right, and you have more of the industrial areas over there, and we want to make sure that we really work with those industrial areas because again, that's where your trucking and all those stuff come in, and those they do impact your community as
By
well.
all means, by all means. I know. I don't know if you know that, but I just was appointed to be the vice chair of the neighborhood Harbor North Gateway neighborhood council. And
yes, I was aware of that, and congratulations.
Thank you, Doc.
Congratulations.
It was really a funny story, man. I ran for one seat, lost by one vote.
Oh,
And
wow.
didn't even, here's the crazy, I didn't get a chance to vote for myself. I ran for the at-large position, didn't get it, lost by one vote, and again, I didn't get a chance to even vote for myself, which would have made it a tie. But when one person, I think there was nobody ran for the vice chair, and I ended up getting appointed vice chair. So it's funny how God works, but He always working. But in I've gotten since in that position, I've begun to understand more. And man, as you sit here and you watch some of these maps, we are divided in our communities by territory in so many different ways, and it makes you realize why you have certain attitudes, especially from some of the youngsters when it comes to gangs. Because the guys on my side of 132nd, 135th didn't like the guys on your side. Okay. Did you grow up over there?
Yes, I did.
Okay. But because I was exposed to those guys on your side through my dad's lawn cutting service, I ended up at some point in time going to Gardena High School. And that's where I did a lot of my football stuff. And I'm thinking, man, only thing we shared was Smitty's Liquor. Okay.
Yes.
And even then, some guys would cross the street, go to the other liquor store rather than go to Smitty's, because Smitty's was like the 135 liquor store.
Right.
And right. Oh man, it's crazy how the demographics can be such an impact on your psyche, because it was all BS, but we accepted it because that's what we were told.
Right.
And then Gardena kids were different from Centennial kids. I went to both of them, and anyway, man. Go ahead, Doc. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you absolutely right. The attitudes was different. Gardena kids. The trend was Gardena. It was our elementary school was Avalon Gardens Elementary School.
Right.
Perry, Gardena, and then you just walk a couple of feet up. There's Vanguard, which would have been right. Vanguard, Centennial, and then you had Enterprise, and then you had what's another school? McKinley.
McKinley, right?
That's right. So most of the kids that went to McKinley, the elementary school, I think McKinley or Enterprise, actually went to Vanguard to Centennial.
Right.
And you're right, because sometimes if you actually look at it now, you just have like a couple of street lights away from each other.
Right.
A couple of just a street light.
And homies.
And it's sad. It's sad because what residents don't understand, this is where it hurts a lot of the services that you might need in the community. You can sit up here and be across the street. They say that's Compton. Or you can be on the other side. Well, you're in the unincorporated county of LA. You can be on the other side. You're in Gardena.
Right.
So it divides a lot of the communities. But what we have done is we gotten communities to work together.
Right.
Because we're fighting for what's right in the community and better things in our community. So it's no such thing as, well, that's your problem. Don't worry about it. We have taught leaders that if there's a situation happening in my area, I'm going to make that phone call to make sure that it don't happen in your area, because if it's going to come to if it's in my area, it's going to come to your area. It's going to come to the next person area. So we want to make sure that we work together. And that divide, and it's sad because that divide still stands today in a lot of other communities, that they can't work together because, well, you over here and I'm over there, and whatever happens, happens.
Right. Now, Athens, that's all Athens, Willowbrook, Avalon Gardens, Magic Johnson Park, and certain areas around there. It's all LA County, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, where I'm at in Athens, I'm LA City.
Right.
But if I cross the street on Figueroa, I'm in LA County. And it was once told to me that depending on what direction, if you have an accident on Figueroa and El Segundo, depending on what direction and which way you are headed, will determine what you call the Gardena LAPD, Gardena the Highway Patrol. Okay, because it's all right. That's the intersection of everything. Okay,
right.
And it's just funny, man, how if you don't understand these maps and this jurisdictions, it'd be so hard to get things done, man. It's really
right. I was in a meeting yesterday where one piece belongs to Union Pacific, one piece belongs to Caltrans, one piece it was a cleanup. But no one didn't want to take the responsibility of the cleanup because part of it is Caltrans. Part of it sits on the Union, the railroad, which is Union Pacific.
Okay.
Part sits in the city. So what happens when I do these meetings and I come out, one question I ask is, everyone talking to each other? Nope. Is the county talking to the city?
Nope.
Is Public Works talking to regional planning? Is everyone talking to each other? And it's funny what I have found out. And they say, well, no, John, you know what? We haven't. And that's what some of the problems now when entities do not talk to each other.
Yeah, John, you know what I also realized? Here's the problem that we're going to have, not only in what you just said, in municipalities all over. If the people who control those situations don't live in those areas, they don't care. Because they paychecks are not affected, their home lives are not affected. They don't really care. They don't really care. And that's sad, man, because if your job is to do a certain thing, but you know you're going to get paid the same amount of money, whether that job is done or not, to the satisfaction of the citizens in that area, you're going to get the same check. So there's no incentive for them to do anything about things that affect us. And that's the problem we have not only in LA County, but in Compton. If you don't live in Compton or live in a certain area, you don't have the same passion for the cleanliness of that area, because you sit behind a desk, you might never seen that area. You heard about it through a call or email, but you don't live there. So you have no attachment to it other than your job. And if the first hiccup that happens that delays, postpones, or interferes with that job getting done, that job gets pushed back to the end of the line, which is bullshit.
And you're right, and that's one thing that when we actually do these cleanups on the homeless and everything, it's funny that you see all these homeless activists talking about how they do this and how things should be done, but they're not coming into your area. They're not out here cleaning up. They're not out here making sure that these things get done, but they come on Channel 7, Channel 4, Channel 11 and tell you that, the things that they're doing. But when the stuff in our area, when we getting things cleaned up, you won't find them. You won't find them. But they're good to tell you what's good in your area. They're good to tell you what you should have in your area. But the folks that actually do the work in the area, they don't get the love and support. You have this paper that circulates. If it wasn't for you circulating that paper, people would not even know what goes on in their own community. And no knock to this LA Signal or the Wave, those big papers, but just the local paper like yours, people pick up and read and like, wow, you know what? Be honest with you, I didn't know y'all had a Canes in Compton until it came in your paper, until it came into the Hub City Legend newspaper.
Thank you. You know what? And And here is a problem that I experience as a newspaper, and it's trying to get the support of the businesses or people or organizations to help us stay in business. Okay, I have been, we've been doing this about 2 years. It'll be 2 years. It'll be 2 years in April, and we have some businesses that understand the importance of a paper. Now, here's the beauty of what we do. We don't just do the paper. We have an online version as well, which is actually bigger than the paper because we have much more digital real estate than the actual paper. But because so many people right now, we're in a digital divide. People like the physical paper, but some people want the digital paper. Okay. And I would love to be able to send everything out in email. Just push one button and 20,000 people get it. But I can't do that because you got a certain group of people, they want to feel that physical paper in their hand. But we need support to make that happen. Okay. It's expensive to make a paper. I had no idea how expensive it was. It's expensive to make it, to distribute it. And we have a few people that support us to make that happen. And we're expanding our distribution to LA County, Athens on the Hill, Willowbrook, Avalon Gardens, so people can see this and appreciate it. But I would also welcome, hey man, if you can't get it here, if you can't get it from the liquor store or the library, I got it. I'll send it to your inbox. And that's why I do what I do, because it's amazing how much information that we miss. And I'm on the streets, you on the streets, and we miss stuff every day. Okay. It's still stuff we miss. And if we weren't out in the streets like we were, we wouldn't meet or see what we see. But imagine somebody don't have no time to go to a meeting, go to a community meeting. That's why I do most of my calls, most of my interviews digitally, so I can put them in the paper and I can put them in my digital paper so that we can distribute them, give them more of a distribution, not just in where people can pick it up, where it goes into your inbox. So make a long story short, which is almost too late. I appreciate you appreciating us, because it takes a lot to get it done. And I would also welcome any articles you have from your area, because I'm trying to solidify the Compton and the unincorporated areas around here between from, I'm gonna say, Imperial Highway to maybe the 91 freeway. Okay, that, and all the way to the 710 to the Harbor Freeway. Gardena is pretty much covered, but these areas are pretty much neglected when it comes to information, and that is the area that we're trying to cover. And like I said before, if you have something, I'm even looking to put together a specific page for Avalon Gardens or Willowbrook or Athens on the Hill from a digital perspective, because we can do that and without having to incur a bunch of extra costs. So this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this show. I'm giving you that input, and I want people to know that we're trying to make something happen. And man, if we don't communicate right about now, it's obvious we got.
That's it. And one good thing that I'm glad that I was able to come on your show with that, and we talked, I think, about a week ago, that we will definitely want to push the paper, because again, it's a lot of things that I said in my community meeting about a month ago. Communities and residents are going to have to self-govern themselves. We can't depend on our leaders, our politicians, and those to do the things that needs to be done. And we're going to have to take time and make sure that we, folks, people that live in their communities, do the things they do to make sure that the information and things need to be out for them to know. For instance, I definitely want to push and say about the Vermont Galaxy, a shelter that a young man, Dennis Taylor, had purchased a church. And now it's like he's turned into a men's shelter. And making sure that these men that's be on the street, they can come. And I was just there this morning where, his doors are open where guys can come and take a shower, and eat, and he have doctors there on site and resources. We don't have that in our community. We do have shelters for women and children, but we don't have nothing for men. I was there, not this morning, but I was there yesterday as well, when there's a young lady sleep on the sidewalk. And she asked, can she get some food. Every day they pass out clothes. She was able to take a shower, get fresh clothes, get a meal because they got a kitchen and everything. That's something that's vital, in our community that we don't have.
Okay.
If a person needed help, you have to go through your Rolodex to see if they can get the help. And hopefully, if they can get the help, they have the help available. And so to have that in our community, that's one thing that we as community leaders, we have really pushed to make sure that it's talked about. The leaders know about it, in which they do. Last year, they fed over 500 people on Thanksgiving. They had their chef, they cooked a meal, and it was opening. You didn't have to register or go on QR code to know who you are. I was there. It was just like family. But you're not going to see that on Channel 11, Channel 4, Channel 7. You're not going to see that on the news. It was family, and they're doing it again this year. So with your help,
where's it going to be at? Where's it going to be done at?
It's going to be at the Vermont Galaxy, 10121 South Vermont. That's Los Angeles, California, zip code 90061.
Address one more time.
10121 South Vermont. That's Los Angeles, California. And on Thanksgiving, from 11 to what time? I think 11 to 7. They're going to have food there. You come in, you sit down, you're going to enjoy, you're going to eat. Last year, they packed food and delivered food for those who couldn't make it. See, and you have families that cannot afford to have a turkey dinner or a meal, times are tough. We see that. We see that the food lines are, folks are lined up just to get the food. So again, this is something that in your community, sometimes people don't know, and we have to let the folks know you got something in your community that you have access to. Just like your paper, we need to make sure that gets pushed out. They have access to, and it's on partners. It don't fall on you, but it falls on the leaders, myself, and other leaders to make sure we promote and we support our counterpartners who have podcasts and papers. The number of support that they get. And I say our counterpartners, and when I say counterpartners, who they are. Right. But we have to support ourselves, and we have to make sure that the work that you do, they know about it, and we support it. It's not saying, okay, that's cool, and then let me get a paper. Let's support it, because that's all we got.
That's all we got, Doc. All we got is us.
That's it.
All we got is us. You know what, dude? I'm sitting here and I'm talking. As you talking, I'm thinking. I hope that the youngsters of today as we go through what we're going through right now, realize that you can't depend on nobody. You can't depend on your mom, the government, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You have to find a way to be self-sufficient. And that is something, man, that I learned as a young man. But people get comfortable. And when you get comfortable, especially with somebody else who's in control of your destiny, your livelihood, the government, whether through Section 8 or SNAP or whatever the case may be, and you get somebody like what we have right now, and they decide to pull the rug from under your carpet from under your feet, and now everybody, including those who got it, those who can afford to do it, you're scared to get on the plane because ain't no air traffic controllers. Nope. I got to travel in 2 weeks, man, to see my grandson play football. I'm nervous to get on the plane, dude.
Right.
I'm nervous because they playing with people's lives, and because what? They want to privatize the air traffic controllers, because everything is all about big boys getting the money. The government gonna ship them. I got a friend of mine. She's a flight attendant, and all of a sudden now the flight attendants work for a third party organization, so they contract the flight attendants to the various airlines. Now I didn't know that. I thought you work for Delta. You work for Delta. You work for
Delta. Right.
No. They have it's a contract that they hire they book the flight attendants through a third party now. I'm like, oh, so maybe that's what they're trying to do with the air traffic controllers. Give somebody a fat contract to hire all the air traffic controllers so that they can book them at a higher rate and make a bunch of money, just like you do a security guard or any other third party situation. capitalism has its benefits, but it sure has a whole lot of drawbacks. Anyway, don't get me to preaching. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the things as a community leader. I look at the whole picture. I look at the policies. One of the key things that I'm really concentrating on is the economics. We hear about affordable housing, and I always ask these folks, what's affordable? What might be affordable for you might not be affordable for me. And we build all the housing and everything, but there's no jobs. There's no jobs in these communities. And if we want folks to live in housing, they have to have somewhere to work, to pay the bills, to live. And so when our economics is just, not even talked about, we talk about housing, but how are you going to pay for something that there's no jobs in your community? And that's one of the key things that I preached on, is making sure that there are economic development in your community. We spend money in our community. We have jobs in our community, so we can keep things in our community. Better grocery stores. I don't need liquor stores and pot shops in our community. We want, quality stores in our quality stores in our community, but then economic growth. And that's one of the key things. So when you hear the stories of affordable housing, then where's the economics?
Right.
Let's talk about those economic things. And that's for the younger generation, because if they don't think and they don't look ahead, boy, I tell you, they're going to have a rough years ahead of them. And then they're going to wonder what happened. So, we have to get from the economic aspect, the education aspect, we have to hold folks accountable. I'm so sorry to say that, but, we can't just continue to go with the hocus pocus magic all the time. We have to hold our folks accountable, because we want better. When I go to community meetings, that's all I hear. They want better. You want to have better for your child, your grandkids, and for those that's going to come after us.
Right.
And the ones that paved the way for us, they did their job. We had to do ours.
Right. That's very true, Doc. Well, man, it's been a great talking to you. We've been doing this about 30 minutes now. That's probably my limit. That's okay, though. John, where can they find you? Where can they find you, John? I really enjoyed it.
And before I go, please, I have to give this young lady a shout out, Paris Thrash Daycare, because she allowed me to sit here and use her facility for this interview. And so those who need some daycare, I'm going to push it out there. Who needs some daycare, you can give her a call at 310-650-2254, right in the community. Daycare is expensive. My child is grown, thank God. But when I hear the prices of daycare, I tell you, these kids need to work. When they, these babies need to work, because daycare is not cheap. But this person has been around for many years. The school appreciates her, because those kids that go to school and their mamas and daddies work, she's right here. So I thank her for just allowing me this time to use her facility. Again, it's the Thrash Daycare Company. If someone needs some daycare service, reach out to her. Paris Thrash, 310-650-2254. And once again, I thank you, sir. And again, we, God's willing, we're gonna make sure that you sit just with the wave, the signal. Your paper should be right next to them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right next to them.
How can they find you, John?
They can find me here again, December 10th. We're going to have the Night of Thanks at Avalon Gardens Elementary School, 13940 South San Pedro. That's Los Angeles, California. Come on out. We're going to have catered food. The Night of Thanks, this is my 3rd year doing it. It's a night where we're just going to come together. We're going to enjoy each other, good conversation, good food. For once, just one night only, just take the time and say, you know what? Let's just enjoy each other. We've been through the rain, the storm, the mud, but for one night, just take the time out, come out, have some food, talk to your neighbors, talk to everybody. When I do the Night of Thanks, I bring everybody out. I bring the CHP, I bring the sheriff, I bring those folks that represent your community. You have an opportunity to eat with them, talk to them, have good conversation. When we did it last year, man, the sheriff was serving food for everybody. We was building that conversation, that community conversation, working together. And again, December 10th from 5:45 to 7. That's normally when I start my meetings, but it won't be a meeting. It's going to be, you come out. I'm going to say a few words. We're going to pray over the food and the catering and the chefs and the folks that cater. And we're just going to enjoy ourselves. The folks in the community who've been coming out, they enjoy it. When I talk to them, they say, "Hey, John, are you doing the night of thanks again?" That is my thing. That is my thanks, giving back to the community of all the hard work, the sacrifice, the times when I need you to fight. You was there. And again, the night of thanks, December 10th. We're going to start at 5:45, Avalon Gardens Elementary School, 109-340 South San Pedro Street. And I look forward to you being there as well.
I'll follow through there. John, thank you for coming out, man, hanging out with us for a little while, Doc, and talking.
Well, thank you, sir.
You got it. All right, folks. This is Lonzo, the editor of the Hub City Legend newspaper and the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce, bringing you another issue of Hub City Legend, folks. John, I'll see you later, Doc. Be good.
Be good, sir. Thank you.
All right.